The morning light filtered gently through the cracked shutters of a countryside farmhouse, dappling the old wooden floor with slanted rays of gold. On that very floor, sprawled in the regal indifference only a cat could master, lay Basilio. He was not an ordinary cat. His coat shimmered like antique velvet, a blend of tarnished silver and smoke, and in his eyes green as the deepest forest lurked an intelligence too quiet to ignore. Basilio had lived through 9 winters and 8 summers, each one adding to his silent archive of things observed, but never questioned. He watched the world with a patience that felt eternal, for in his feline mind, all things returned in cycles, sunsets, meals, the flutter of moths near the lamp. Death, however, had no place in his understanding. To Basilio, everything that disappeared simply returned somewhere else. The rat scurried off, the bird flew away, the human left, and came back with food. Life was a game of absence and return, till the day the dog died. Maximus was not Basilio's friend, not in the warm, tail-wagging way one might expect. Maximus was noisy and foolish, with a tongue too large and a heart too generous, always thumping and leaping. But he was constant, a barking, panting, muddy pillar in Basilio's world. That morning the dog did not bark. Basilio noticed it in the way silence clung to the walls, like wet cloth. He strolled out to the garden where the dog usually thundered around the roses, digging up things that had never needed unearthing. The dog was there curled unnaturally still beneath the magnolia tree, his eyes open but not seeing, his chest unmoving. Something in Basilio's spine tensed. He approached, expecting a sudden leap, a lurch forward, a chase. But there was nothing, not a twitch. The air around Maximus smelled wrong, not like sleep, but like stillness soaked in soil. Basilio sat beside the body for hours. When the humans came, they wept. They touched the dog's fur and spoke in soft, breaking voices. They placed Maximus in a box and covered him with a blanket. Basilio watched as they carried the box away, and not to the returning place. That evening, he waited at the door. But the dog did not return. Not the next day. Not the day after. Basilio stopped eating. He no longer chased the light on the walls. He no longer greeted the wind. Instead, he sat where Maximus once lay, eyes wide, unblinking. And one night, as the moon hung like a pale coin in the sky, a tear just once slid from Basilio's left eye. Not because he missed the dog. Not exactly. But because something had cracked in the smooth glass of his reality. Something that whispered, "Some things do not return." In the days that followed, Basilio changed. The humans noticed first. The once indifferent feline, who used to glide through their legs like a ghost of silk, now hovered near them with an unfamiliar hesitance. He would sit for hours by the back door, staring at the magnolia tree where Maximus had lain, as though waiting for something to reappear, perhaps for a sound that would never come, but something more profound stirred within him. Questions. Though cats are not gifted the luxury of language, they possess a labyrinth of emotions instincts, sharpened by 1,000 generations of watchfulness. And now, in Basilio's soul, something akin to grief nested like a dark-winged bird. One afternoon, he padded into the barn, where the mice rustled and the dust hung heavy. This was a place of old things, broken tools, forgotten boots, cobwebs thick as memory. There in the corner, he found the body of a field mouse, lifeless and limp. He didn't touch it. He simply looked. Smell was the same, the stillness the same. A chill crawled up his back. In the following days, Basilio became a watcher not just of life, but of its end. He sat beside a dying bird one morning, eyes wide, unmoving. He watched ants swarm around a fallen beetle, dismantling what once moved. He no longer hunted, he no longer played. His world had shifted from joy to inquiry. The humans, concerned, brought him new toys, bells on strings, wind-up mice, even a kitten to cheer him up. But Basilio only stared at the kitten with a haunted patience, as though he were the elder monk of a forgotten temple, watching innocence dance while holding the knowledge of mortality. Then came the night of the storm. Rain drummed against the roof like the march of an invisible army. Thunder cracked the sky open like an old scar. The family's youngest daughter, Linnae, woke screaming. Her pet rabbit had died. Basilio followed her cry into the room. There she sat, curled over the tiny limp body, sobbing in gasps. The rabbit, too, had gone still. Lena clutched it, desperate. And Basilio, in a movement that surprised even himself, leapt softly onto her lap. He didn't purr, he didn't nuzzle. He simply lay down, curling beside the rabbit, and placed his paw gently upon it. A gesture neither human nor animal had taught him. A gesture of vigil. Lena, through tears, wrapped her arms around both the rabbit and the cat. That night, something unspoken passed between the girl and the feline, a mutual understanding carved from loss. Basilio did not cry again, but in that shared silence something deeper was born. Seasons passed as they always do. The magnolia tree blossomed and withered, blossomed again. The kitten grew and became rowdy, chasing shadows and tails, unaware of the weight that age would one day drop upon its narrow shoulders. And Basilio? He aged like a statue in a rainstorm, quietly, slowly, inevitably. His coat lost its luster, his gait slowed, but his eyes, those green, glassy portals, retained their storm. One morning, the family found him lying beneath the magnolia tree, in the very same place where Maximus had been. Basilio wasn't dead, not yet. But he did not rise when they called. He did not blink when they touched his head. He was staring into something beyond the garden, beyond the barn, beyond even the walls of that little world. Lena, now older, sat beside him. She knew, she remembered. She merely lay beside the old cat, her hand resting gently on his flank. And for hours they stayed like that, in silence, in warmth, in understanding. When Basilio finally closed his eyes for the last time, there were no sounds of grief, only the wind whispering through the magnolia leaves, and a sense of something profound passing quietly into the soil. The humans buried him next to Maximus, and on a carved stone they etched a simple line. He watched, he knew, he waited. Years later, Lena would become a biologist, studying animal cognition and emotion. She would write about a cat who mourned, about signs of grief in creatures once thought emotionless, about a world more complex than any textbook ever taught. She would say, "The day Basilio cried was the day I knew animals remembered. Not with words, but with echoes of being." And others would scoff, would roll their eyes. But in the hush between facts and faith, in the breath that lingers after a story is told, something would whisper that perhaps one day a cat really did learn what death meant. And perhaps, just perhaps, he cried,